this video is for the men and women who want to increase or double their income in 2026. Now, this is a problem I solved last year, and it was for one reason and one reason only. I quit weed. Now, a lot of you guys I know probably smoke weed. The thing is, you probably make excuses like it helps with my anxiety, it makes me more productive, it helps calm me down. But that's the problem in itself, right? I'm 25. I used to be smoking a blunt or two a day since I was like 16, 17. And that's what I would tell myself. It'll make me feel better. I even needed it to eat, to sleep. I became addicted to it and I quit last year. And as soon as I quit, and I quit for a reason, I started to see my income increasing month by month by month to the point where I even moved out the state, got a different job, changed completely different industries in a matter of 4 months. And this is why you can too. And it starts with getting rid of your addictions. Now, I'm gonna go through a little story and it's gonna come circle back around to the point I am now, the point where I am now. And I'm gonna tell you step by step of what I did, right? So last year, going into 2025, I told myself, first of all, I was completely unhappy with my life, with my job, with what I was making. I went to school for engineering. I was an engineer for about 2 years. I was making no money, believe it or not, biomedical engineering. I wanted to change, right? So then I started to notice my patterns where I would go to work, my 9 to 5. It was 8:30 to 4:30 specifically. Job was about 45 minutes away. By the time I got back to the gym after work, it was like 6. I work out from 6 to 8. Then from 8 to about 12, right? Those 4 hours, I wouldn't know what to do. You know what? Let me just smoke, make myself feel good, maybe watch a movie, watch a couple of YouTube videos. And deep down, I knew that wasn't really helping me because those 4 hours could have been used for something more productive or, bettering my future, which I didn't do, right? I wasn't really thinking about until about last year. So I told myself I would quit weed. And the first thing I started noticing was when I would go back from work or the gym, it was around 8 p.m. I had nothing to do. I'm not gonna smoke weed, right? So this is where you become like kind of bored, right? But boredom helps you be more productive because you start thinking about what can I be doing right now? I can't smoke weed. What can I be doing right now to better my life? Is it learning new skills? Is it changing jobs? Is it creating your own business? It could be anything. So as the months went by, I started just reading books. I started learning new skills. I started learning new industries that paid more. And I found that besides having your own business, I would say 4 main industries to work in to make above 6 figures a year is medicine, law, tech, and sales. I would say those 4. Now, medicine and law, I didn't go to law school or medical school. Those were out. Tech, I was in tech. I wasn't making a lot, right? You have to be very, very skilled with a bunch of 10 plus years of experience to be making 100 plus thousand a year in sales, in tech, sorry. Sales, that's where I was like, maybe I could, do something in this where I don't need that much experience. I could still have a lot of freedom in what I do. And I'm still learning new skills every day that's gonna even help me in the future prepare and build my own business. Because sales is basically everything in a business, right? So if you do it corporate sales or commercial sales for one company, you can kind of learn how to add it onto your own business in the future. So my goal was to change my life, change industries. I decided on going with sales, and it started with me quitting weed because I'm not smoking weed, sitting down and just overthinking and staying in a comfortable position, right? I'm 25 years old. I need myself to be quick, not slow. And weed makes you fucking slow. It's so obvious, but people still do it, and then they wonder why they're still stuck in the position they are. Einstein said if the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting the same result. And I knew this, right? So I told myself, what did I want my life to look like in 2026? 10K month. I wanted to move out. lived with my mother and her husband. So I ended up doing that. I left. I moved out, applied for a job in sales, medical sales, which pays a good amount, and I moved to New York from New Jersey. Now, before I even got that job, it goes to where you're stuck at, right? You're stuck at a certain spot and you don't know what to do. So it's not about what you're doing, I realize. It's about what you're not doing. So what I was not doing is just having a sober lifestyle, right? I would do drugs, drink alcohol to fill a void that my conscience was telling me that I had. But the void I had was success. I didn't have success. I didn't have the success that I wanted deep down. So I would mask that with smoking weed, drinking alcohol. So I found out weed was holding me back. Now, what I did was I built a routine where I would, those 4 hours from 8 to 12, where I would just spend my nights high, waiting to repeat the exact same day the next day. I would spend those 4 hours researching different medical sales industries and different places where I could go. And I started applying for new jobs, applied for 2 jobs, one at a great medical device company called Boston Scientific. I went down to the final interview. It was me and somebody else, and they chose the other person who had more experience. So I was pretty let down. I kept applying. I kept networking on LinkedIn, asking people to hop on a phone call for 5 to 10 minutes to learn about the industry, to learn about what their day-to-day looks like. And the more I got to talk to people and learn about the industry, the more knowledge I gained. Yes, it was a little uncomfortable at first, but I had to do that. It was do or die, basically. I don't care about a 5-10 minute phone call with a stranger. Most people would find that intimidating. There's kids in third world countries right now, half our age, that are dying, walking around in sandals. Their family just got blown to pieces. My problem was really, in reality, nothing, and that's what really helped me go through these obstacles, right? Especially if I was uncomfortable. So once I found a job I applied for, I applied for another company, and I got denied again. So this is where I got desperate, right? I started looking at programs that I could join to help me get into the medical sales field because they wanted experience and I didn't have it, right? And I couldn't just, they would call me and say, work at ADP for 2 years, which is basically like kind of a startup sales company. And I knew I could make it without going to ADP. So I joined the program. I won't say the program. I ended up paying $10,000 to join the program. And how much money did I have at the time? Like $10,000. So I spent all my life savings. Mind you, I was living at home with my parents, so I wasn't charged for any rent or anything. So that's that, right? That was a big risk. I even went to my mom. I told her, I want to join this program. It'll help me get into this industry. It'll help me make 6 figures. She said, no, it's a scam. My mother, she doesn't really believe in all that stuff. She's very old school. So their mentality is, they want to keep their son. My mom wants to keep her son, me, safe. So she's not even thinking about the money I could make. She's just thinking about the money I could lose. But I had a different mindset where, yes, I lost it, but if I lost the money, I could still gain skills. And there was no way this was gonna end up bad for me. That was my mentality. There was no way. So once you kind of think that, it becomes a reality, and there was no way I was failing. So I ended up finally applying to a job. I took the skills I learned from the program and applied it into the interview process. And once I did, landed the interview. Only thing it was in New York, and I lived in New Jersey, Long Island, New York, which is not big of a move. I've heard people move farther. So I'm not saying I did something like spectacular, but I don't know anyone over here. So I just figured I'll just pack up all my stuff, move out, move states. I know nobody over here, but that's the only way I knew I would grow and end up making more money, because that was the goal for 2025. 2025, I moved out twice, right? I moved out in Jersey to my own place, and then 4 months later, I moved from that place down to Long Island. So I moved out of my parents' house. I doubled my income, making over 6 figures now. I'm not gonna say exactly what, but it doesn't really matter where you start. That's what I'm kind of trying to say, because my goal now isn't 6 figures. Like, it's way above that. So it doesn't really matter where you start, as long as you have a goal and as long as you want to improve. I would say get rid of your vices, build a routine. Weed is the number one downfall of people in my generation. right? If you're not an entertainer, if you're not a rapper, if you're not like a thug, I don't know. Like weed literally has no benefit for you. It makes you autistic. It makes you lazy. It doesn't make you smart at all. You can't retain any information on weed. I do not know why I was doing it. Well, I do know because it felt good at the time, but again, it was, what's the word? Instant pleasure instead of delayed gratification, right? So once I started getting rid of the weed, it took me about 2 weeks for me to like get over the withdrawals and the cold sweats at night. The withdrawals, I have no tips. You gotta suck it up, right? Drink a lot of water. I drank a lot of coffee. Because again, I needed to be up, not down. I needed to be quick, not slow. Because what does being slow on weed in this day and age, what does that help you with? I'm trying to think of something. No, nothing. So I knew I had to quit. I knew I had to quit that. And once I did, my dreams came true. Now, 2026, I'm ready. I'm not gonna say my plans, but this is my first video, so it kind of speaks for itself. I love the job that I have now. I'm gonna continue growing and making more money. But to be rich, to be well off, you need multiple sources of income. You need multiple avenues. So I'm gonna be doing YouTube videos. I'm gonna be reading a lot. There's a bookcase behind this camera. I'm gonna be reading a lot about sales, a lot about people, and a lot about communication because that's something that I feel like I need to work on. And again, this is from the heart, so I know it's 13 minutes long and I'm kind of rambling, but yeah, I'm excited to see what 2026 has in store for me and for you too, because I know if you're listening to this video, I know you took something from it. I know you have a vice, maybe weed, or maybe other vices that are keeping you from your goals. And just know that I'm not all the way successful yet, but I will be. And this video is gonna be my first video to sort of document it. And for when I am successful, I'm gonna come back to this video and being like, look, your boy did it. Because you know why? I'm a man of my word and I'm disciplined as fuck. And I know you can too. And you will be successful. Just starts with getting rid of your vices, focusing on the mission, and staying 10 toes down.